has been there, done that, would perfectly give a gist of RJ Divya, the morning show host for Big 92.7 FM. She introduces the city to the sunshine with lots of enthusiasm and positivity.
92.7 बिग एफएम पर गुड मॉर्निंग, आप हैं दिव्या के साथ और आपको पता है इस वक्त पर हम आपको क्या देते हैं?
Coupled with meticulously chosen music to start one's day on her show 92.7 की Morning Local. Adgully caught up with RJ Divya to know more about her life, journey and her association with radio so far.
Personally, where I come from is I'm a complete Mumbai girl. I was born in Delhi, so somewhere my heart does belong to Delhi, but Mumbai is where I've grown up and बहुत गाली देती हूँ मैं मुंबई को, but I think it's a city that has given me who I am and what I am today. In terms of studies, I was always the topper. I was the head girl of my school. I was a very serious child, and none of the people I know in my school can believe that Divya has become a radio jockey of all the things. They always imagine me to become something more serious like a doctor or a lawyer, and I did in fact study law. I got into government law college after junior college, and there I started doing law, but I realized that people around me were doing much more. They were just they started working from their second year onwards, and they used to come to college dressed in formals, and I used to be like, "Ye college nahi hai yaar, come on, like this has to be more exciting." So I started taking part in college fests, etc. But even they had a very very small shelf life, and I started looking for things to do. Is when private FM became really big in Mumbai, and I saw this hoarding, I remember, of a frequency, and it just said 92 point something, and just that, nothing else. The hoarding just had the frequency, and I said, what is this? All over Mumbai there's this number, what is this number? And I was like, oh my god, it's a frequency, oh, it's radio. And I tried to tune in, and then I heard it, and I heard a lot of other radio stations at that time which were having test runs. And it completely fascinated me. I was, wondering how open a medium this is, which is having a test run, where people can hear them, and they're actually saying, "Ye test run hai, wait for us to launch," And then I started hearing radio quite a bit. There was a radio jockey I became a big fan of, and I got in touch with him. I was a big fan, like a typical fan. I used to listen to him, and I used to call him, and I send messages and all of that, and never with the intention that I wanted to do radio. I genuinely felt that he was doing heartfelt radio, and I still feel that that's the best way to do radio. So I spoke to him and I asked him if he thought I could do radio, and I first started off by doing music on his show. So I used to select the songs on his show, and then I still remember 700 rupees CD. It cost me 700 rupees to book that studio and do a demo CD. And I sent it to 2-3 radio stations. One of them mailed me back saying we would like to speak to you, and that was 94.6 Win FM, and Win 94.6 is what we used to call it. It's no more. I worked with them for a year, and that's when I learned on the job. When they hired me, I told them I don't know anything about radio. I've never done radio before, but they had the confidence that somewhere I could be a good radio presenter, and I learned on the job. I became a radio jockey, and then there was no looking back. There was a time when I completed my law though while I was doing radio, and there was a time when everyone said you should get back to radio, to law, sorry. So I just knew that I can't go back to black and white life after I've seen and experienced what I have. So then I chose radio over everything else. I went to Dubai also for 6 months. I worked to the station that played only retro songs. So my only kick was that I could come out of a Mohammed Rafi song and go into a Kishore Kumar. It was just a high for me. And I did a lot of music for radio stations, whether in Mumbai or in Dubai. And now I'm with Big FM since the past more than half a year. And I do the breakfast show here, so I have to wake up every morning as I think it's a hazard, क्या बोलते हैं, occupational hazard. A radio jockey, what I prefer to call a radio presenter, is someone who becomes a part of your consumer's life. We are not someone you see, we are someone you feel. Yes, we are heard, but what happens is that once you start listening to me every day, or a radio jockey every day on a particular time, you become a habit in that person's life, and therefore it becomes very easy for the radio jockey to enter your life in various parts and various ways. Also, you kind of enter their mind space because they can't see you. They are concentrating on you, and they are thinking about you in their own way. So I might be looking like X in someone's mind, and I might be looking like something else altogether in someone else's mind. वो अपने दिमाग में अपनी imagination से मुझे बना रहे हैं, which is the beauty of radio, the mystery of radio. And I feel that not only in terms of habit, also in terms of company, like a friend. So, which is the reason why emotions play a big role in radio. It's more like someone you live with, or someone you meet every day and you love to talk to or listen to, and I think that's what a radio jockey is. In terms of significant changes, I feel one of the biggest changes that have happened in radio is when private FM came into the picture, is that a lot of people went on air suddenly. A lot of connections for people. So there was not just AIR, there was also XYZ, and suddenly music was available at various levels for you. So you could just switch channels and get the song that you want to listen to. You are not there's no compulsion for you to listen to anything else. At the same time, we are going to smaller cities. So new music that connects with people on TV will also be heard now, because a lot of satellite has reached everywhere in the smaller towns, but radio is still too. So I think the next phase which has come in will help that. If you're saying 800 more cities or 800 more stations, it really means that a lot more people will be enjoying this medium, will be consuming this medium. I think therefore, as a radio jockey, what is also important is that you build your family faster and closer. I think that will be the biggest challenge for any radio jockey now. Internationally, like for example, when I worked in Dubai, I noticed that radio stations are mushrooming. So there are all kinds of radio stations. So there is a jazz station where you'll get only jazz music, jazz talk. There'll be a talk radio, so you'll get only talk. You won't get music. You'll get one or two songs in an hour. And then there'll be songs that they are playing which are only retro. So there's specialization, there is niche radio happening. So whatever you like, you can tune in and listen to. So there is a lot more loyalty involved in those stations. In terms of metros, there are stations that we listen to. There are stations that we look up to, because they have really worked through the format. They have really experimented a lot. India is still in its nascent stages in terms of radio. We are still trying to figure out how to live, because we are still a surviving industry. We are trying to put in a lot of confidence behind the medium, but we are still not able to earn as much. So when the policies become such that we are able to explore different mediums, different kind of music, different kind of genre, there will be a lot more action happening for the consumer as well. Not only for the radio stations per se. A lot will depend on the policies that come up in radio, because as of now we are very restricted. I remember when we first started, the reason why Win 94.6 had to shut down was because we couldn't pay the heavy license fee that was given to us. But then now it's revenue sharing basis. So therefore more stations can be viable to run a radio. Therefore it will become more viable to run a station. Even then, like I said, genre-based radio has to come. Consumers have to become more aware that radio can be more than just hasi mazak, and I think what the perception that people have about radio needs to be changed, not only by the consumer themselves, but also it's the responsibility of the radio stations and the radio jockeys, therefore, to make them realize that radio is not just like I said, a medium to listen to and laugh. It's not just jokes, because we're not allowed to have news on radio yet. As soon as all these things start happening, the policies fall in place, radio will become such a beautiful thing to engage with, not only from the consumer's point of view, but also from advertiser's point of view. There'll be so much more to offer even to the advertiser, because as of now it's just a number game. You have to break that number game, and then I see potential. In terms of how many enthusiasts enter this space, not many. I've got a random 1 or 2 calls on how to become radio jockey, tell me which institute to join, but there are very limited institutes that actually teach you exactly what radio is all about and how you can, explore this medium. Also, when people think of radio, they only think of radio jockey. They only think that they can be a radio jockey, and if they don't have a good voice, they cannot be a radio jockey. You don't need a good voice to be a radio jockey. You don't only have to be a radio jockey to be in radio. There are a lot of other things that are involved in putting a radio station together. And I feel that when radio enthusiasts come forward, they should keep their mind open that they can do a lot more. They can script, they can voice, they can, do production. And I think once that happens, a lot more people will enter the industry. As of now, it's a very, very limited space. Very few people know about it. Very few people feel it can be a career. Even today, if I tell someone I'm a radio presenter, they'll say, "Acha, aur kya karti ho?" So it's more like a hobby, and it is not. It is a 10 to 12 hour job every day. My show is where I unwind. I completely love my 4 hours. I indulge with my consumers. I laugh with them. I cry with them. I completely love the music that I play. That's my space, and that is where I unwind. In fact, after that, when I have to get to work is when I feel, "Acha, abhi kaam karna hai." Having said that, I do a lot of movie watching, and I do theatre, so I go on stage. That is something that I would like to do again. I have moved away from it quite a bit, but that's about it. You don't really get to holiday once you're a radio jockey, because Holi ho, Diwali ho, you have to be on air. You cannot say that aaj show nahi hai kyunki aaj chutti hai. So that doesn't happen. I'm just hoping for the best. For the medium, I love it too much. So for me, it's my first love and will always be. So I want to give it a lot, and for that I require a lot more space and a lot more enthusiasm, not only from the radio professionals who are working in different radio stations, but also from advertisers and also from listeners. The medium has huge potential, and to explore that we all need to work together, and I really hope that we can. Listen to radio, try to figure it out, try to feel radio, try to understand what radio, why it works as a medium, what is it about radio that creates magic, why do you like it. Only once you get these answers will you be able to understand whether you want to be a part of this place or not, because it's a very small place, and once you're in it, you will feel like a family. You're a part of a family, and then you wouldn't want to, it's not a place where you can use it as a stepping stone. So don't think that if I want to become an actor, abhi radio kar lete hain, baad mein filmein kar lenge. This is not your space then. And in terms of people who really want to do radio, I would suggest that start from scratch. Join a radio station as an intern, just rough it out, and then you will really shine as a radio professional.